How now, brown cow? Hey guys, William here from fitnessforbackpain.com. Thank you so much for tuning back in. For all the new people that have come on over the past couple of weeks and months, I appreciate you for coming here and wanting to learn the real stuff when it comes to healing lower back pain using exercise, using things you can do from your home. Today I want to talk about what I call the protection mechanism. We all have one. It's in our brain. It's subconscious. It's really important to understand how big of an impact this protection mechanism will have on your long-term relief. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. If you have not already gotten there, go over to the website fitnessforbackpain.com and check out my free 4-part masterclass. I give you over $6,000 worth of what I have spent physically from my pocket on chasing the wrong thing over the past 8 years of my own personal pain journey. Go over there and check it out, and let's dive in. So let's talk about what I call your protective mechanism. We all have this. It's in our brain. It's subconscious. It's what's working behind the scenes as we go about our day. When we're thinking and we're body scanning, or we're kind of going through the motions of doing our chores or sitting at work, you have this machine working in the back of your mind. It's what's called your subconscious mind. And it's basically reacting to your environment in ways that you really don't think you can control, because it happens without you really thinking about it. And this is where this whole mind-body connection comes in. And it's super important, it's super valuable, and something that takes time to work through and to really get a grasp of. The two aspects that I always say that you have to focus the most on are the mechanical aspects of pain, no matter what your background is, surgery, no surgery, fusion, disc repair, whatever you may have, or just straight chronic exercise or non-exercise induced low back pain. Doesn't matter what your background is. You have to understand the mechanical aspects of pain and then the mental side of pain, because they're two very important things, and you have to respect and understand both. And this is an onion. Think of the pain science or the biopsychosocial aspect of pain as an onion. And every layer means something. Every layer is breakthrough. Every layer will take you to a different recovery aspect, or take you to a different level of healing than you were before. And what you have to keep in mind is this is not a quick fix, but something that you're going to work through and get to the process of. So what is this protection mechanism? Basically what it is that you go throughout your day, you're walking around your house, you're picking up things, you're vacuuming, you're at work, you're sitting down. There's a lot of aspects, a lot of things that you do on a day-to-day basis that are gonna cause you to do typical movements, like bending over, grabbing things off the ground, twisting, lifting, extending. All these different things that your body is naturally designed to do, but unfortunately for people like you, you experience pain with those things. And if you rule out all the mechanical things, if you rule out the fact that you've had a surgery, you had an accident, you've had X, Y, and Z happen to you, if you rule all those things out, your protection mechanism is basically your body's way of protecting itself from further damage, okay? Let's take, for example, someone who had a discectomy, let's say 10 years ago. Someone who had disc repair, or a part of their disc removed because of some kind of damage, or a herniation or a bulge or whatever. Let's say you had that removed, and 10 years later, you're having tightness and stiffness in that lower back. There's all different kinds of reasons, both mechanical and psychological, of reasons of why you're still experiencing that lower back pain and that stiffness and tightness. I will speak to one thing or two things when it comes to the spinal stiffness and that sensation of feeling you have to stretch and that tightness that you're experiencing. Oftentimes that is actually our protection mechanism. That's basically our body saying, hey, I don't trust bending, or I don't trust being in this position or twisting or lifting or extending, so I'm gonna clamp down around that spinal area and cause some stiffness or some sensation of stiffness to protect that area. And that's your body's natural way of saying, hey, don't worry about it, I got you. I'm gonna tighten everything up, I'm gonna get nice and stiff, so the disc in that area that was operated on 10 years ago, nothing happens to it. Now the problem with this is years and years and years and years go by, Your body has healed. Your body naturally wants to heal. You're not broken. Just because you've had surgery does not mean that you're unable to bend and move and do the things you used to. Now, if you have been fused, your whole lumbar spine or your thoracic spine or a mixture of both have been fused, yes, you're gonna have limitations. Doesn't mean you can't do anything. You're just gonna have different limitations than the next person. Doesn't mean you're broken, doesn't mean you're anything less. It's just a matter of this is the season and this is where you're at with your specific condition. So what your goal is to learn to master and understand and respect the fact that sometimes when you're feeling tight or tense, that sensation that you feel in your lower back may not be actual tight muscles. Sometimes there is a difference between muscle stiffness, shortening of the muscle, being knotted, versus the sensation of being tight, the sensation of being stiff. Those are two different things. Oftentimes, when the sensation of stiffness is there, you need to strengthen it. It's weak, the endurance is low, it can't manage or handle all the daily chores that you do. When there is an actual shortening of the muscle, that's when sometimes stretching can be beneficial, sometimes. Okay, so looking at these two things, you've got the sensation and you've got the actual shortening of the muscle. But when you bring it all back to the middle of it, you have to give it context. If you're vacuuming, if you're bending over, if you're at work getting up and down, doing the things, and after about 15 to 20 times of getting up and down, you kind of get into this routine as, man, now my back is stiff. Now I'm standing at my desk because I have a stand-up desk or something like that, and I feel like I'm in overextension. I feel like my lumbar spine is just locking up. That is your body's protection mechanism. It's your brain telling you or convincing you that you are not in a safe place, that your body can't handle this, and that it's going to take over and stiffen. The beauty of this is it's beatable. You don't have to be this way. You have to retrain and reteach your body that moving and being able to bend and flex and twist is okay. You're strong enough. You're not brittle. Your spine is not made of glass. You are strong, you're capable, and you are not broken. So when you get to the point where you can actually think about that and break that down and put that to use, you can begin to start implementing different ways of thinking, whether it be speaking out loud, speaking in your mind, as you're doing these movements that will allow you to release. I'll give you an example of this. Flexion was a big deal for me. When I specifically remember cutting my grass. I would cut my grass all the time. And I have a bagger on the back of my lawnmower. So what I would do, every 10 rows, the bag would fill up. I'd have to bend over, open the latch, get the bag out, dump the bag in the trash can or the woods or wherever I had available to me. But that bending, I had to constantly bend over. But what I had done is I had trained my brain, I'd trained my mind to associate cutting the grass, bending over to empty that grass bag would equal pain. I would get stiffness like clockwork every Friday when I'd cut the grass. The end of the day, the end of that hour and a half, 2 hour session, I bent over maybe, let's say 10 times during that whole time. My back was stiff. For the rest of the day, I was gonna feel that stiffness and that pain that I had created from cutting my grass. Now, I use the exact same lawnmower. I cut probably more often now because I've moved from Virginia to Florida, and I have the same amount of bending, if not more, but I don't have that same pain. What's changed? I haven't had surgery. I haven't increased my pain medication for my ruptured disc. I've done nothing except train, strengthen, and over time allowed myself to trust being in a bent position, to relax and allow the muscles to do what they need to do naturally and not feel like I have to lock up and stiffen up. That's what's going to happen subconsciously if you allow fear of movement to run your life. Okay? That's that catastrophizing. That's what happens when you go to a doctor or a surgeon and they say you're broken, you're ruptured, you're herniated, you're bulging, and you can't do this. You'll never lift again. You'll never deadlift. You'll never bend over. You'll have to use this little toy to pick things up off the ground. You'll never flex your spine. All these things, and you take this with you. You're going to go two routes. One route is the route of where you actually compartmentalize that. Like you take it in and you absorb it, and then you start adding negative things to it. You hear these negative words, and then you process it as a negative thing, and next thing you know, you're on this pain cycle. Where the other way is you're told you're messed up, you're broken, you have issues, you have surgery or you don't have surgery, you trust that your body is strong, you get good coaching, you have positive reinforcement, you begin to recover, you trust that what you're doing is gonna work, and then you get onto this positive reinforcement cycle where the pain you recover, whether it takes 6 months, a year, 2 years, your recovering is progressive and linear in some aspects, to the point where now you are broken free of all pain and all long-term effects of what has happened to you in your lumbar spine. So that's the idea of this protection mechanism. We all have it. It's in our mind. It's our body's way or our brain's way of protecting us from dangerous movements. You can control that. It's going to take time. You can work towards getting better and teaching yourself to trust movement, trust twisting, trust bending, if of course your specific spine allows you to bend. Again, if you've had a fusion, then you may have a little bit different story. You're working on different areas. It's still the same idea. You can cause that same protection mechanism in other areas of your body, your shoulder, your neck, your traps, your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings. The same idea plays out no matter what your situation may be. If you constantly are fearful of moving, it will create issues. So we have to get away from that. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really wanted to kind of dive into this mind-body connection. This is just the beginning. Lots of stuff coming out. Again, if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you have not gone to the website, go over to fitnessforbackpain.com. Lots of cool stuff happening over there. You can also get plugged into the newsletter, send you weekly, if not every other week, content you can check out and apply to your own life. Thanks so much, guys.